Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This time one of my own games. This game will be played against Havoc, who is spawning as the red Terran, and I will be spawning as the blue Protoss. The game will be on Metalopolis in these close positions. Very close air distance between the two of us. A little longer on the ground, just because of the way the ramps are situated. So I haven't done one of my own games in about a week. I had the MLG DC replays, tons of them, and a lot of good series that I wanted to get to. I'll probably cast a few more of those series as I find more interesting ones, but for now just wanted to show you a game that I have played recently. So for the most part, to make it to Diamond and to get through Gold and Platinum, I sort of adopted a standard 4-gate build where I'd come out and try to time my attack for 7-8 minutes, about 50-60 food, and it gave me something to build off of for the most part. I have been trying to experiment a little bit more, since every time that doesn't work, I'm kind of struggling on what to do next. So looking for some new builds to try out. I've been trying 2-gate plus robotics facility, 3-gate robotics facility, a little bit of Stargate play against Zerg in particular. So going to try something entirely new this game. This is a build that I got off the Team Liquid forums, their Liquidpedia site. They have a few builds on there. It's not quite fleshed out as much as it could be, but a few builds specifically are talked about. They tell you food count and sort of what timings to use when you push out or when things are safe. So I'm going to try a different build this time. He's going to scout up here and see the 1 gateway and the assimilator, so pretty standard opening for Protoss. I'm scouting, being annoying in his base, just see the 1 refinery so far and just dancing around. So he is going to leave now, and looks like he's going to go to this tower. I'd like to see him in my base a little bit longer. He's going to see the cybernetics core and another pylon. Looks like he's just going to come back in. So smart, you want to stay in your enemy base as long as you can, get as much information as possible. He's finally going to push out a Marine here, and I think take down my probe if it wasn't already taken down. It looks like it was. And now he's going to throw up a tech lab on that barracks. So he's still being annoying in my base. I'm going to push out a Zealot, try to get rid of that SCV and not give away what my build's going to be. I had typically been using Chrono Boost, saving it for workers at the start, and then Warp Gate Tech with my cybernetics core. But using Chrono Boost on this first gateway is very powerful, pushing out these units. You're able to control the scouting a little bit more and apply some early pressure. You can really change up the games. I saw that a lot in the MLG replays. Just these Protoss players going off of 1 gate, maybe 2 gates for so long, whereas before I'd be trying to throw up 3-4 gates as fast as I could so I can warp in units at a moment's notice. Looks like he's throwing up another barracks and factory here. I do kill that Marine that he's made and the SCV, so I know that I have no more scouting coming at me, and what I'm going to do is throw down this fast nexus here. So a fast expand. It's going to come, I think that was on 25, maybe 24, and going to try to secure this expansion. Use a little bit of pressure from my first Stalker and Zealot to scout out what he's going to do, and maybe throw up some more units if I need them, if I sense some early pressure from him. If I don't, then I'm just going to be able to, I guess, probe up, sort of like droning up for Zerg, but it's the Protoss version, and take the economic advantage and kind of push this into a later game. So it looks like he's done 1 Marauder here. He did have that initial Marine, so he's running pretty light here, and I need to push up and try to see what he's going to go for. Looks like he is going for a starport here. So he has this tech lab available. We may see the starport transport over. And great timing by me here. This is when I choose to move up here with my units. So I'm going to see the factory, I'm going to see the starport moving over, and then I saw the starport moving over and about to land on this add-on, but I did not see what the add-on was, so I'm going to push right back up here, see that tech lab, and then need to pull back with these units. So now I know that the Banshee is going to come, so in response I'm going to throw up the robotics bay here. As you see, I did get 2 more gateways, and this Nexus did come up. I did not do a transfer, but I am pushing probes out of both of these Nexus, and putting him on the natural here. Possibly like to see a transfer, especially with the Banshees coming. You want to really even up the number of probes on each mineral line, just so not a lot of damage can be done on any one of the mineral lines. So need to make sure I remember that if I ever do this build again. But again, just the one stalker, I think my Zealot got a little bit mismicroed there and picked off, so he has an SCV stuck. So I just have the one stalker, and now pushed out a few more gateway units. Just a small army here. I have a sentry. I could block off the ramp if any early pressure was coming. Instead, this Banshee is going to come. I have my units. I should probably position them about here, just so they could be on either nexus if I see this Banshee coming. Banshee is going to start attacking and harassing these probes. Need to react with these stalkers and try to push it away. He doesn't yet have cloak researched, but I am pushing out an observer. So I do have this observer on the field now, and I do pull back all those probes. I'm going to try to limit the amount of damage this Banshee can do. 6 kills so far, so pretty successful, but I am going to be able to silence this Banshee right about here and then get back to mining. So at this point, if we look at the income tab, I have 31 harvesters on 2 bases. He has just the 20 harvesters on 1 base, so he's very, very light on SCVs. He went tech very quickly here, probably went for an extra barracks before he should have, and now he is going to see my expansion and throwing down a command center in response to that. So if we look at the army tab, 1125 for me and 550 for him. So he's gone tech very quickly here, doesn't have much of an army, and now he's going to try to expand in response to my expansion. But I am so far ahead of him in the economic game. I've doubled the economy in terms of minerals. That's even with mules up for him. So I should be able to push out more units here and really take advantage in a macro game. Again, most of my games had been ending in the 10 to 15 minute range, maybe 10 to 20 for the most part, and was relatively comfortable with the early game. I did pretty good micro with my 4 gates or with my 3 gate and robotics, and I was able to win most encounters when I had a relatively equal army to my opponent. So this late game is not something I'm as comfortable with. I don't usually expand, as we see him coming with another Banshee, this time with cloak, but I do have this observer, so I'm going to be able to take this one down before it does too much. Just 1 kill so far. So my typical games, I usually expanded once, not often a second or third time. So we'll see in this game, the game does go on a little bit longer, and I sort of get out of my comfort zone with what I'm used to. But it's good to try to work on my macro here, my macro game. Need to make sure I'm keeping up with these warp gates, constantly warping in units. I do throw down another gateway, as another base can support these 5 gateways and a robotics facility. Probably another gateway or even another robotics facility. But I don't want to necessarily go another robotics quite yet. I don't want to commit to a specific tech line. And that's something you will see in this game. I don't necessarily pick a tech early enough and start getting into Void Rays, Carriers, or Colossus, and I possibly should do that a little bit earlier. So throwing down a pylon over here just so I have sight. I want to make sure he's not doing any sort of drops on this side, and there's a little bit of a gap here. And then I want to throw a pylon over here just so nothing can approach from this side and harass me. He does have this watchtower, so both of us sort of are in our own little worlds, have decent sight, and just going to kind of work on our economy right now and our armies. If we see, he's still in 22 harvesters, so just now making more harvesters. He has side-capped himself a little bit. Looks like I lost my observer there, as he did create that missile turret. Now he has a small Marine Marauder force with these 3 medevacs. It looks like he may push out here for some attack. I'm also pushing out. I do have an Immortal now. I'm a little bit afraid of this bunker. It was decent positioning on his part, especially considering our positions, because I'm going to have to come along this road. I'm going to have to swing wide and make sure I always swing wide with my units. Any units I send in to the front of his base to support my attack, reinforce my army, are going to pass right by this bunker, be slowed down, and probably take a lot of damage from those Marauders, especially a Stalker. Looks like he's going to load up these medevacs and prepare for a drop. I have placed Stalkers here in anticipation of a drop, So again, something I'm trying to do is split my army a little bit, just so I'm covered everywhere if things like this happen. I'm going to possibly take out that medevac, know he's going to save it, and these stalkers are going to act as a first line of defense, but he is going to be able to come in here with a siege. No siege tech yet, and going to focus down this nexus. I am going to chrono boost these warp gates, warp in more stalkers here. I just warped in the previous ones. He's going to take down this this nexus and set me behind here. My army, I regret placing these structures here, as it's going to limit where I can move with my army. If he was smart here, he'd pick up these marauders and just skedaddle, as he's done enough damage to my nexus here. But I am going to clean up this force. He's going to save those medevacs, and we see he did destroy my nexus. I'm going to throw it back up. There's enough minerals here, and especially gas, to make it worth it. Close to 4,000 gas. And if you look, I did throw up a third while he was doing that attack. So, not really sure why I didn't take this position. I think I thought maybe that pylon was in the way, but it's really not. So I threw up this third, sort of as a hidden expansion. He doesn't know it's there. Well, not yet. Looks like he's going to move these Vikings. He may shortly know it's there. But throwing up that third and my main, I know I'm going to be at least one base ahead of him. I figure he does have this natural at this point. He does see that expansion with those Vikings, but it looks like he's going to try to do some harassment instead on my natural. I'm going to swing wide with my force and try to push his front door. I figure he lost most of his force there when he attacked me. Again, he didn't do a very good job of keeping those units alive. He could have lifted up with the medevacs and retreated there. Throw up my away message here. Frel loves me. So going to take on this planetary fortress. If you see, this immortal's going to take the brunt of the damage. These few stalkers around it are going to take damage, but this immortal is just going to tank all that damage from the planetary fortress, and I'm able to take that down. No repairs from those SCVs. So a bit of a mistake on his part, and